Now I'll be going through Monopoly tutorial question 4. Under question 4a it asks, under what conditions will a monopolist be able to practice price discrimination? And the answer can be found in your notes. So the following conditions are necessary for price discrimination to exist. The firm must face a downward sloping demand curve. Basically what we're saying is price discrimination cannot work when a firm actually has a horizontal or a vertical demand curve. It must be downward sloping in that different prices will actually get different quantity demanded. So a high price will result in a lower quantity demanded, meaning lesser people buy. A low price will result in a higher quantity demanded, meaning more people buy. So this must exist before price discrimination can happen. The next condition is the firm must be able to separate markets. When we say separate markets, what this means is there must be some way in which you identify the two different markets. So the price elastic market and the price inelastic market, you must be able to differentiate them. So very often we see firms doing this by asking for proof or some kind of identification. So for example, in order to qualify for student price, very often you have to show your student ID. And also other examples could be Pioneer Generation discounts. They would have to show their Pioneer Generation card in order to qualify for the discount. Okay. The next part is the buyers in the various markets must have different price elasticities of demand. So basically what this means is with the market that is more price inelastic, in order to increase total revenue, in order to maximize total revenue, price inelastic market, we would actually increase price. When the market is price elastic, we would actually reduce price in order to increase total revenue. Okay. And the last point is that the firm must be able to prevent resale of the product. So for example, with cinema tickets, if you use your student card to purchase a cinema ticket at student price, you would not be able to resell this because sometimes at the cinema they would actually ask upon admission at the gate, ask you to produce your student ID card before they actually allow you to use the student card. So reselling it to a working person, the working person would actually not be able to go into the cinema because sometimes they actually check for student ID. So that's our answer for question 4a. Moving on to question 4b. We are being asked to discuss with appropriate diagrams how a monopolist can practice price discrimination as it sells its product in two separate markets. So price discrimination is actually essentially selling only one product but selling it at different prices to different people. And that's why we say selling its product. There is only one product. Okay. So we describe the process of how we do this. Firms first determine profit maximizing output where MR equals MC, and then it will determine price from the demand curve of the two different markets. And we come to the conclusion that the monopolist charges a higher price in the market with a more inelastic demand. We are being asked to show with appropriate diagrams as well. So to draw our diagrams, we need to draw two diagrams side by side. Please do not draw this one on top of the other in your exams. So the one with the steeper curve will be the market with inelastic demand. With gentler curve will be elastic demand. So next we need to draw in our MC. Because the product is the same, so for example with cinema ticket, the price of producing a cinema ticket to sell is actually the same whether demand is inelastic or elastic, and that's the reason why we actually draw our MC as a horizontal straight line for both markets. Okay, so marginal cost is the same for both markets, and that's why we draw it as a horizontal straight line. Okay, so next we need to find our profit maximizing output, which is where MR equals to MC. So MR equals to MC to get profit maximizing output. Next we need to determine price. Once again we dot up to demand curve in order to get price. Likewise, for the elastic market we do the same. So from this we can actually come to the conclusion that with inelastic demand our price is actually higher. With elastic demand our price is lower, and that's why we say that the monopolist charges a higher price in the market with more inelastic demand. So this diagram actually shows that. Okay, so moving on to part 4C. 4C says to give an example of price discrimination in practice. So I've already mentioned a few examples earlier. So cinema tickets is one. So you know that there are student prices for cinema tickets. Senior citizens also have senior citizen movie tickets, senior citizen price movie tickets. Other examples are like at Pizza Hut, we have student value meals, student set lunches. And also sometimes certain shops actually offer discounts, for example Topman, Topshop. So there are actually lots of examples that you can apply this concept to. And also, 18 Chefs also have student set discounts as well. So that's the end for our answer for question 4. And please watch the next video for question 5.